In this video, we're going to talk about the FIRE movement and why it's necessary, especially for millennials and also Gen Z, coming up. Welcome to the Journey of Finance, helping you achieve financial independence. My name is Cedric, and here on this channel, we talk about how you can manage your money and invest your way to retirement. New videos uploaded weekly, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos, and smash that like button down below. It lets me know that you're enjoying the content and helps put this video in front of more people so that we can all level up financially. So I really wanted to have a chat about the movement that is sweeping the personal finance space, especially amongst millennials. It's a movement that, as with any movement, has its diehard supporters, but also its fair share of critics. And then there are those who are in between who understand that the movement has its pros and cons and tons of nuances based on the individual situation. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about why I believe the FIRE movement is actually a good thing, especially for millennials and Gen Z. Many of you watching will already know what the FIRE movement is, but in case you don't, the movement is really a lifestyle movement that aims to achieve FIRE, which is an acronym that stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The general idea behind it is that you take the appropriate steps to save and invest aggressively to achieve your FIRE or freedom number, which is the amount that you project that you need to retire. And then you'll be able to retire before the average age of retirement, and your lifestyle can be financially supported by what you've accumulated up to that point. That's the simple idea behind it, at least. But as many of you know, it can go much deeper and nuanced than that because you have different types of FIRE. Some people aim to achieve lean FIRE, which is where they typically live frugally in order to build up a nest egg that is capable of supporting their frugal lifestyle in retirement. And then you have fat FIRE, which is sort of the opposite side of the spectrum, which is where one aims to retire early without the limitations of frugality. Typically, these people are able to accumulate much more money in their working years than their lean FIRE counterparts. And then you have other types of FIRE like barista FIRE and coast FIRE, which will involve any combination of retirement and part-time work or side hustling. I'll make a separate video going more into detail on these different types of FIRE, but for now, it's quite easy to see that there's no one way to FIRE, and there are many ways to achieve it. If you want to learn more about how the FIRE movement started, how to achieve it, and the math behind it, then make sure you watch this video right here that I made to catch you up to speed. So why is the FIRE movement significant? So whether you're a proponent of the FIRE movement or not, there is one thing that I think we can all agree on, and it's the idea that we can aim to be financially independent, meaning we've eliminated all of our debts and accumulated enough assets to be financially stable and to have the option of retiring or not needing to work a job. With that in mind, I think it's important to bring up the idea of semantics when it comes to this conversation. For some, retiring early means that you're able to quit your 9-to-5 or you're able to step away from your business by having other means of financial support throughout your retirement, like your investments or real estate properties. For others, retiring early simply means that you have the option of walking away from your job or business, but you don't necessarily have to or even want to. So FIRE can really mean different things to different people. But what I really find great about the movement is that it has brought forth an awakening, if you will, among millennials and Gen Z who are really living throughout a different time than the generations before. The baby boomer generation and Gen X really lived in a time where graduating from school didn't mean you'd come out drowning in student loan debt, or getting a job meant that you'd likely work there for 20 or even 30 years, and you knew that your pension, Social Security, and even 401k would be waiting for you at retirement age. But we as millennials are thrown into the world that in many ways we are not adequately prepared for, and we start at a disadvantage. We are graduating from college having to climb out of a deep hole of debt, trying to figure out a suitable career path in a very competitive marketplace. But because we know that after the 6-month mark from graduation, Uncle Sam and Aunt Sally Mae are knocking at our door for our student loan repayments, we feel the pressure of taking any job that will pay us so that we can get by. Next thing you know, 20 years down the road in our 40s, we are stuck in a job that we never really wanted, but it's sort of too late to change because we're still paying off student loans, but now we've experienced lifestyle creep and have bigger expenses like a car payment and a mortgage. At this point, we realize that we have pushed off thinking about saving for retirement because we're still struggling to just get by. Now, obviously, I'm generalizing here a bit to prove a point, but we live in such a different financial and economic environment than previous generations. So with all of that said, this movement has brought forth an awakening that helps us realize that we can can and must take control of our own financial lives and our financial futures if we want to live a meaningful and purposeful life. To have the freedom from the chains of debt so that you can have a peace of mind and less stress. To have the freedom of choice to take back control of your time, which is finite, and for you to direct your time in a way that fulfills you, and I personally would hope still contributes to society. So what are some of the benefits of the FIRE movement? There are many benefits that this movement provides to those who choose to pursue it in one form or another. It provokes us to take responsibility of our financial lives. I think many of us would agree, at least in the United States, that there's a severe lacking of financial education in our school and even college curriculums, which unfortunately leaves most adults ill-prepared to manage money and prepare for retirement. But what the FIRE movement has done for many is that it has brought to attention the fact that, hey, I might need to think about planning for retirement. Yes, it might be under the headline of retiring early, but the truth is, the movement brings an awareness that in order to retire, whether early or later in life, you need to have a plan and strategy to accomplish it. So many people have begun to take ownership of their own financial lives and started to educate themselves on personal finance where they otherwise would not have done. It causes us to be disciplined. Saving for normal retirement requires a lot of discipline, but shave off 15 or 20 years to retire early, you're in for an even bigger challenge. For anyone who is serious about achieving FIRE in any way, it requires discipline to cut back on expenses and maybe sacrifice up front. It also requires discipline to consistently save and invest at a much higher savings rate in order to build up your nest egg faster. It causes us to be future-minded. In order to achieve any form of successful retirement, there's gotta be a lot of planning that goes into it. Having to project what you'll need for retirement 10 or 20 years into the future is no easy feat, but thinking ahead will allow you to make decisions today that will benefit you down the road. Now, I know that there are many critics of early retirement that says it's impossible to project where you'll be mentally or what you'll want out of life in 10 years, and that's very true. In fact, there are people who have retired early in their 30s and realize several years into their retirement that having kids and a family costs a lot more than they anticipated in their 20s. But the point is, the movement gets you thinking long term. And lastly, it causes you to take action. What I love about FIRE is that it provokes you to take action. It gets you to start planning and managing your finances. It gets you to attack your debt head on and get out of it as fast as possible. It gets you to learn how to invest and start putting your money to work. The journey to FIRE is not a straight line and it will have bumps in the road, but I think for most people, it's a positive step in the right direction. Criticisms of FIRE. There are some valid concerns and things to consider about the FIRE movement that I won't address in this video, but I do want to point out that it's not a perfect philosophy. As with any philosophy, there are many things that are oftentimes overlooked or just not accounted for when people decide to pursue FIRE. Some of these things include withdrawal strategy in terms of taxes, miscalculating how much you really need for retirement, and the implications of leaving the workforce before your peak earning years. These are all valid concerns, and I'll create another video going over some of these oftentimes overlooked aspects of FIRE. Final thoughts. Overall, financial independence is a worthy goal to strive for, and I think it's a good mindset shift to pivot towards, whether you decide to retire or not. So perhaps reframing the idea of FIRE from financial independence, retire early, to financial independence with the option to retire early might be more practical for many. But all in all, I think this movement has sparked something powerful within many people that otherwise may not have been sparked without the birth of this movement. And that's my take on why I believe the FIRE movement is necessary. I hope you found this video insightful and valuable. I'm also very curious to hear your thoughts on the FIRE movement. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me or if you have another take on FIRE. All right, everyone, if you're interested in content that will help you on your journey to financial independence, then make sure you subscribe to this channel and click on that notification bell to get notified of new videos weekly. Also, be sure to share this video with someone that you know who can get a little inspiration for their financial journey. See you in the next video. Peace.